You're basically here for the trivia. Today is trivia day. Friday trivia day, but it still is an All49ers Roundtable. I'm Grant Cohn, joined by Niner Nick Newman and Big Maverick Pallack. That's what people call him. Who knows?
I hope not.
Big Maverick. We're going to be doing some Niner discussion today, but we're going to get through it and do trivia because it's a huge hit. So if you stick around about half hour, about 35, 45 minutes, we'll do some heavy hitting trivia. But first, we got to talk about quarterbacks because we don't do that enough here. The Niners seem to be in the market for a quarterback, or are they? They like their guy. They don't like him. It's the topic every single freaking day. And the question for the class is, are John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan to blame for creating this quarterback controversy?
I can go ahead and start with this one.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and start?
This is my question. Yeah. So, I mean, if you go back to 2017, Kyle Shanahan had his master plan in place that the following offseason, they were going to go ahead and sign Kirk Cousins. So you went into the 2017 season with Brian Hoyer and CJ Beathard as your two options at quarterback. Then you trade for Garoppolo. He has a fantastic end to the 2017 season, gets hurt week 3, 2018. And then he comes back, leads. Oh, I shouldn't say leads because we all know the 49ers had the best ground game, one of the best ground games in the NFL, one of the best defenses. They make it to the Super Bowl, and they're never satisfied. This past offseason, they were flirting with Tom Brady. I mean, how could you not? He's one of, if not the best quarterback of all time. And now this offseason, every time a quarterback becomes available, there's chatter that the 49ers may be interested. And, of course, you are always looking to upgrade at the position, but I just feel like a lot of this controversy is self-inflicted because they're never satisfied. And again, you're always looking to get better. And you got to be more discreet when you're trying to look to upgrade at the position. So I do think some of the controversy is self-inflicted, and that's kind of where I stand on that matter.
I went with injuries as a big blame for this because if Jimmy Garoppolo played this whole season and they still went 6-10, then I think that would have answered the question on if Jimmy Garoppolo should be the quarterback of the future and there wouldn't be uncertainty. If he was injured and he didn't play, and that kind of adds to it. So I think that has a big play in this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. But it's still, I still feel like it's a Kyle and John creation here because when you look at the structure of the contract, the way I look at it is it was never meant for Garoppolo to play it all the way out. You get into year 3 and you either move him or you extend him. That's how it was created. It gives you the flexibility to move him or extend him because it's so expensive right now. You're paying him $26-27 million a year. He's not worth that. You could make it more affordable by extending him, giving a sign-in bonus, and locking him in long-term. They don't want to do that. So they're riding the fence, and that's why there's a quarterback controversy. It's obvious when you just look at that. Because you don't even have to listen to what they say, but when John Lynch is asked last year and this year, like, it's real easy. You can create cap space by redoing his deal. Are you going to do it? Are you going to extend him? And both times he's like, no, we don't want to do that. We don't need cap space. You mean you don't need cap space? Yes, you do need cap space. That's why you traded DeForest Buckner. If you weren't riding the fence, then there wouldn't be a quarterback controversy. And I think that's what people, at least Niner fans right now, admire about Sean McVay. You made up your mind. You got rid of the dude. The Niners seem like they're just, well, I don't know. Maybe we could just see one more year. Like, okay, you're paying a lot of money for those extra games that you're watching. So, I think they are to blame. The injuries are true. Maybe that's why they keep feeling, well, we can't extend him. He gets hurt. Well, they could have extended him after 2019. He wasn't hurt then. I don't know, Maverick.
Oh, I was just saying the controversy as of this moment, if he played the whole season and they made the playoffs and went to the NFC Championship or whatever, then it's pretty he'd be the quarterback. Yeah,
back to back. Yeah.
If he was playing the whole year and got hurt, then or if he's playing the whole year and they just didn't win, then
it'd be cut and dry.
Yeah. But since there's injuries, there's always the what if, and that's just what I was that's how I interpreted the question. I think that's a good answer. That's a good answer.
It is. And one more thing to add. The reason why I admire Sean McVay is he just ripped off the Band-Aid. Like pretty soon you have to make a decision as far as which route you want to go regarding the quarterback position. In this specific offseason, they're in a prime spot to do that. Deshaun Watson's available. If you don't want to trade the necessary assets to receive him, then you're picking 12th overall. And again, when you look at the makeup of this roster, they're picking higher or lower in this draft, I should say, or higher. They're picking 12th overall. This team shouldn't be picking 12th overall. So you can get your quarterback of the future. There's just no reason for this lack of commitment to go beyond this season, because you're going into year 5. Hopefully it's addressed going into year 6. Who's going to be your quarterback of the future?
I just remember being on local radio stations, 95.7 KNBR with Butcher Boy. Maybe it was Dieter Kurtenbach on KNBR in particular. And he was telling me, this was 2019 or early 2020, look, the Niners are going to extend Jimmy Garoppolo's contract. They have no choice. They can't continue to have him play on this deal. They're going to extend him, and they never did. They never did. And Lynch was asked about it last month, and he said, no, we're not going to do that. We have other ways to create cap space. As long as they're doing that, it tells you everything you need to know. They're not sold on him. They'd like someone better. It's kind of like how I see it's like pretty much exactly how Gruden and the Raiders feel about Derek Carr, even though Carr's better. Yeah. I mean, it's obvious that Gruden wants to move on from Derek Carr, right? With the faces he makes and the lack of commitment and the fact that they won't extend his deal. It's the same thing.
Well, they re-signed Peterman. They obviously want to get rid of Carr because Peterman's the future.
Peterman's like the Nick Mullins of Vegas, the guy that the head coach really prefers deep down inside.
People make fun of Mullins for throwing picks, but he didn't do it to that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Look at some of these backups around the league, and then you have more of an appreciation for the record setter, Nick Mullins. All right, next question. Stop being so self-deprecating, Maverick. Is Nick Bosa off limits in a potential Deshaun Watson trade? I know we've talked about this before, but it keeps getting brought up, and people have very passionate opinions. So where do you stand on this now?
I don't think anyone should be off limits necessarily in a trade unless it's Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce, where you are, you're a winning team and you're consistently in the Super Bowl. Why trade those guys that are winning there? But Bosa, I would not trade for almost anyone. If it was 1-for-1 Deshaun Watson, I would definitely do that, I think, because it's a quarterback or defensive end. But if I have to include first-round picks, I'm not doing that. And the Texans obviously should ask for Nick Bosa because they have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL and they should want great talent in return. But I don't know if that necessarily means the Niners have to do it. I think sometimes just a trade doesn't match up. They would have to. You don't have to agree to every trade. It's not a forced situation, and I don't think the Niners would do it.
You have to draw the line somewhere. I'm reluctant to part with Bosa, Kittle, Warner, all those guys. It gets into that territory where we're like, this is where I'm going to go with this, is that if the Texans had their heart set on Nick Bosa and they're like, we want 2 first-round picks and Nick Bosa, how do you say no to that? The name of the game in the NFL is finding a franchise quarterback. I, just before the show, went back and looked at the last 30 Super Bowl winners. There's only 6 quarterbacks that are clearly not franchise quarterbacks that have won Super Bowls. Only 6. So 80% of the time, the Super Bowl winner has a franchise quarterback under center. And that's exactly what Deshaun Watson is. And if you look at the Super Bowl losers, it's no surprise that guys like Jimmy Garoppolo, Rex Grossman, Jake Delhomme, Chris Chandler, those guys aren't franchise quarterbacks. And when it comes down to it, yes, pass rushers can step up in big moments and make game-winning plays, but it's the franchise quarterback that's going to take you to the promised land 8 out of 10 times. 8 out of 10 times. So Nick Bosa and 2 first-round picks for the opportunity to pick up a 25-year-old quarterback who can lead your franchise for the next 10 years, yes. Preferably no, but if that's the deal breaker, yes.
The fact that the Niners had a top 5 defense without Nick Bosa tells you everything you need to know. Excellent player. But they managed without him. If the Texans had lost Deshaun Watson, they would have won 0 games. Now they won 4, so that doesn't say a lot for him. But I'm still he's a quarterback. And the reason that I keep coming back to the trade Nick Bosa idea is I still feel that his value is overstated, even though he's excellent. Like Kittle says it all the time. Yesterday he said that Aaron Donald is the best player in the league, number 1. Over and over again, he said that Nick Bosa is number 2, the second best player in the league, better than Mahomes, better than Deshaun Watson, better than Aaron Rodgers. Look, I disagree. Okay, Nick Bosa has a lot to prove, before he's the second best player in the league. And I kind of don't think he's ever going to make it to that level, which is, I mean, okay, you don't have to be the second best player in the league to be great. But if that's what his perception is, cash in. How many first round picks is the second best player in the league worth right now on a rookie deal? I mean, seems to me if he really is looked at as the second best player in the league, that means he's better than Deshaun Watson, right? So that should get you pretty far. And
well, Khalil Mack got 2 1s, correct, and a second. So he should get at least
and
that.
People talk about Nick Bosa like he's twice the player Khalil Mack is.
Yep.
You know, I mean, like people just go on and on about his technique and his pressures and his PFF grade. Great. Okay. How many firsts is he worth? Let's talk. Is Houston interested? Would they rather have him than my first round pick in 2024? You know, if that's how far it's going to go. So, yeah, no, he's not off limits. And if he's worth as much as people think he's worth, he might be the ace up your sleeve.
Yep. And additionally, people forget that he's coming off his second ACL tear. It's his first in the NFL, but even before his collegiate days, he tore it in high school, excuse me. So how is he going to recover from his second ACL tear? Is he going to be the same player? He sure could, but it's just not a certainty. So when you think of it through that lens, and okay, how much money is he going to want in 3 years when his rookie deal is up? Assuming
Joey gets $27 million a year. That's what Jimmy Garoppolo makes. So Nick's going to get at least 30.
Yeah, and like if you think about picking up Deshaun Watson and then replacing Bosa's production with a couple of complimentary pass rushers, it's worth it, in my opinion.
How can you say don't get rid of Buckner but get rid of Bosa? Silly. Well, I felt that they traded low on Buckner. That was the 7th pick in the draft, and they got the 13th pick back. If you're trading Bosa now, you're trading the former number 2 pick in the draft for someone whose value has gone up. Even though he's torn his ACL twice, I think you can get more than the number 2 pick for him. Maybe I'm wrong. But that's why I'm interested, because I feel like his value is inflated because of all these reasons that I don't buy, you know, basically hype and Pro Football Focus and pressures.
And when you're talking about trading Buckner, you got him for a draft pick. Right now, you're talking about getting someone who I feel is a franchise quarterback for the next 10 years.
Yeah, would I trade Buckner for Deshaun Watson? Yes. Would I trade Buckner for Javon Kinlaw? No. Would I trade Buckner for Tristan Wirfs? Maybe. That actually might have been a decent trade in retrospect. Okay, let's move on because that wasn't one of the topics. Carson Wentz is trending today. Apparently, the Eagles are already getting offers for the former number 2 pick in the draft, who was almost an MVP guy almost once. Should the Niners send the 12th pick in the draft to Philly for Carson Wentz or offer it?
Mav, you want to go ahead on this one? I'm looking at his contract numbers right now.
I absolutely would not trade for Carson Wentz. If I was John Lynch, if I was Kyle Shanahan, the only way I would even take Wentz is if I'm getting that first round Eagles pick in return and it's a Brock Osweiler style trade. I'm not taking Wentz on. That contract is ridiculous. I think he's guaranteed against the cap $30 million for the next 3 years. There is a potential out in 2022 that still leaves $24 million in dead cap. I don't think Wentz is great. I think he doesn't relate to the locker room well. I like Wentz when he's on another team. But look up the Mina Kimes podcast with Adam Lefkoe if you want Carson Wentz, and listen to when Lefkoe starts talking about Wentz, and you'll see why I'd rather stick with Garoppolo than Wentz.
Wait, Maverick, would you just tell us? Could we get the clip notes, please?
Well, from what I recall, because I think it was when Jalen Hurts' first start, so I think that was week 15 or 16, whenever the Niners were playing Washington, whatever week that was. And Adam Lefkoe was talking about how that the Eagles players in the locker room didn't like Wentz because he loves to push his religion, which there's nothing wrong with that, but some people like talking about other stuff too. And I think a lot of players just didn't enjoy talking to him or being friends with him in the locker room. And as you see with Jimmy Garoppolo, sometimes it's important that the quarterback's liked in the locker room. It gets you a long way, and it keeps you from being cut outright right away in the offseason. And I think that's a big reason why Garoppolo's here, is because his teammates believe in him. And the teammates in Philly didn't necessarily believe in him. They liked Jalen Hurts. The team seemed revitalized for that Saints game when they put Hurts in. And I think that there's some issues there. And I just wouldn't want to take it on. Of course, it's not out 100% out there, but listen to that podcast because I probably butchered some fact about it. But I can tweet out the link later.
It always struck me as odd why they ran him out of Philly so quickly. There must have been something going on that would explain a lot. What do you think, Nick?
Carson Wentz for the 12th overall pick? No, I'm not interested. There's very few players I'm willing to part with the 12th overall pick with that are available or may become available. Deshaun Watson's the only one. I wasn't interested in parting with that pick for Matthew Stafford. I'm not interested in parting with that pick for Carson Wentz, especially after the down year he had. Kyle Shanahan, could he fix Carson Wentz after the season he had last year? Maybe. But yeah, I just would rather rock out with Garoppolo and use that pick either for a rookie to back up Garoppolo for a year or trade up and pick up a quarterback that can lead your franchise for the next handful of years than pick up Carson Wentz or trade for Carson Wentz.
Okay, yeah, I would definitely not trade a first-round pick for Carson Wentz. I'm with Maverick on this one. I would want a pick coming back. And yesterday I was on with Coach Johnston, and I said I would trade Jimmy Garoppolo for Carson Wentz straight up. But now the thing that you said about him not being liked, I didn't know. I don't cover the Eagles, and I was wondering what was going on. That seems to make sense. He seems like he was on his own, and the team was like rooting for Jalen Hurts to take over. Even though Jalen Hurts isn't that great, it's just almost to spite Carson Wentz. Yeah, so if he's a self-righteous guy who doesn't relate to teammates, maybe you don't want to bring him in. Also, I think the main point with Wentz, beyond the fact that he's not liked, it's also he's not that good. His quarterback rating was 72 last year. In 68 games in the NFL, he's committed 58 fumbles. That's not good. He might just be overrated, and he's not young. He's like 28. He's had injuries, and the worst thing about him is his contract. It's the worst contract. Is it the worst contract in the league? It's the worst contract in the league.
Jared Goff or Carson Wentz?
Probably. I mean, yeah. So no.
And I think that was a big reason why the Rams traded 2 first-round picks is to attach Goff to that deal. I mean, we'll never know for sure, but that was one of the And if you want to listen, it's the 1216 podcast with Lefko and Mina Kimes. It's on her podcast. It's from 1216. And
why would you take on that baggage?
Yeah.
All that money. The fact that he has the worst contract in the NFL, players don't seem to like him. And you know that a lot of players like Jimmy Garoppolo, so you're going to move off a locker room favorite for some guy that no one likes and has a terrible contract and fumbles once a game. Nah, probably not.
And arguably, why are the Eagles trying to trade him? It wasn't the whole reason Doug Peterson was fired was because they had to choose one or the other. And didn't we learn our lesson after Jim Tomsula and Jim Harbaugh is getting a little
Where's he going to go? Where's he going to go? Quick prediction. Where's Wentz going to end up? Indy?
If he is traded. I think he's on Philly next year, but if he is traded, Indy.
I got a dark horse.
Who is it?
Jets. Let me say why. Their GM, Joe Douglas, was with the Eagles from 16 to 19. So he knows Carson Wentz real well. He was one of the people that drafted Carson Wentz. He might want him. I'm not saying they give up the number 2 pick for that bum, but they might give up like a number 1 next year or something like that.
If the Eagles get a first-round pick for Wentz, I think that is arguably the weirdest trade I've seen in the NFL.
No, because they should be trading a second or a first to get rid of him.
It has to be, to me, Brock Osweiler-style trades. The only way I could see him going. They attach a pick,
okay,
and they get a pick in return.
All right, let's stick with the quarterback theme, but talk about another quarterback. How come no one ever talks about Josh Rosen anymore? He was the 10th pick in the draft less than 2 years ago. He got picked by the Cardinals. That team stunk. That coach got fired. He went to the Dolphins. He played 3 games. Their offensive coordinator got fired. He went to the Bucs, who had Tom Brady. He was on the practice squad. The Niners picked him up. They never played him. No one ever talks. It's like the whole world has given up on him. He hasn't even turned 24 yet. He's younger than both of you guys. So maybe there's a legitimate reason. Maybe he's like really Jewish and he pushes Judaism on everyone. Although I don't think that's the thing. So what is it about this guy that everyone's like, yeah, we were way off. The whole league was off on this dude. He's bust. Why?
Well, he's just you don't typically see NFL journeymen that went that high in their respective draft classes and then just pinball around the league like that. So why that is, I don't know, but I'm assuming that no one really talks about him right now for that exact reason, because he's been on all these different teams. He's never panned out anywhere. So why would he suddenly just pan out in San Francisco.
Yeah, Maverick.
Well, first off, he went to a far inferior Pac-12 school, so that's a big problem.
I'm telling you that UCLA football is terrible. The team sucks.
Yeah,
You guys might not watch it very much. I used to. It's bad.
Yeah, but Rosen, I think one thing is, like you said, situations didn't always work out. Sometimes it's just luck, and sometimes it's a mixture of not performing and luck leads to an early exit or a bad situation. And I think the reason why people don't talk about Rosen is because he didn't play. And I think that's going to be your next question is, why didn't he play?
Yeah, but I'm not there yet because I want to talk about Rosen. This doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, if you remember in 2017, his junior year at UCLA, his week one, he had that dramatic comeback win over Texas A&M with the throw at the end to win the game.
The legend of Josh Rosen.
It was huge. He was like the number one topic. Everyone thought he was the number one player in the draft at that point. And then the next week he threw 5 touchdown passes against Hawaii. He was a big deal. And then he didn't have a good year. But the way I look at it is he's never played on a good team. UCLA is a trash team. Then he goes to the Cardinals. They were terrible. Then he went to the Dolphins, who were terrible. And now he's trash. Now everyone's given up on him. Still hasn't turned 24 yet. Seems to me that we're overlooking. Maybe we're writing off a guy a little too soon. I was watching his film today from the Dolphins. He had a game against the Chargers where he went 17-24 with a touchdown. He had another touchdown dropped. It's like, really? There's nothing here. And then I'm not saying he's going to be good, but you just give up on this kid and you look at a guy like Sam Darnold, who just gets chance after chance after chance and does nothing ever. But it's like, no, we still believe in Sam, but we don't believe in Josh. What I'm saying is there's anti-Semitism afoot right now. No, it's not what I'm saying. Well, I just don't get it at all. There must be something with his personality. Like, people must not like this guy. Something.
It could be. Yeah, he was dealt a really unfair hand. And if you think about it, if Kyler Murray never decided to enter the NFL and he would have stuck with his baseball career that he had going on, is Rosen still the quarterback of the Cardinals? Or do you think they would have ripped off the Band-Aid and moved on as quickly from him as they did?
If they didn't hire Cliff Kingsbury, I think that would have been a possibility because remember, Bosa was the top guy in the draft and he was supposed to be the first pick. But once they hired Kingsbury, and that was the whole spread air raid type style that Kingsbury likes and Kyler Murray was familiar with, I think that put the writing on the wall. And I know it's the post-Rosen world where anyone can get traded at any time. And he's the culprit of that, obviously.
No, I mean, I hear people talking about like Mac Jones as a guy the Niners should be interested in. Like, maybe, but I'm sorry. Mac Jones is not the same level of caliber. It's not the same caliber of prospect that Josh Rosen was. You like Mac Jones? You're really going to like Josh Rosen. Imagine Josh Rosen if he had played at Alabama behind that brick wall and all those Heisman candidates. He was at UCLA. He's never played on a good team in his life. When you go back and just watch, if you have Game Pass, the guy can really throw. You like arm strength? You think Kyle Trask doesn't have enough juice in his arm? This kid does. And he's dirt cheap. Like, the Niners will he's an exclusive rights free agent. And that's what Mullins was last year. They can keep him for like $350, So
yeah,
I just feel like you got to draft a quarterback, but you also don't want to just forget about this guy.
Yeah. He provides a lot more upside at the QB2 spot than Mullins or Beathard, in my opinion. I think the upside there, just based on the fact that he has all the talent translated to him being a high first-round pick. Yes. So the upside's there.
Yeah, and I'm going to say something controversial, and you guys don't have to agree with me on this. But after watching Rosen today, I believe right now he's a better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo. And if he could get on the field with a good team, he could totally change the perception that is prevailing right now about him.
You're saying better overall, same contract, or just because?
No. Just a better player, better arm, more mobile, better than Jimmy G. Give him a chance to prove it. Which brings me to my next. But I'm always wrong about these things. So keep that with a grain of salt. I know, like 800 Jimmy Garoppolo fans just recorded that. Like, oh, look what you said on February 5th. No, yeah, I did say that. Okay. But my question now is follow-up Rosen question. Why didn't Kyle Shanahan play Josh Rosen at all during the final 2 games of the season? Those were the Beathard games. And I asked because Beathard's an unrestricted free agent. I think we all expect he's gone. So what was the point of the Beathard games, and why didn't Rosen get like a snap?
I have two theories on it, or two parts. One, I think because at the time we didn't know what Nick Mullins' injury was, so it could have been if they wanted a backup quarterback that knows the system, CJ Beathard would be that guy, that third string guy that knows the system and can help guys along. So who knows? But my other theory is what the Saints did with Jameis Winston this year is they didn't play him and they kept him cheap, and they're probably going to be able to re-sign him this year. And now Josh Rosen, no one really cares about him. As you're saying, no one pays attention to Josh Rosen, and the Niners are going to get him back for dirt cheap and have him for preseason, and he gets to work a whole offseason without either being exposed without knowing the system or being exposed to other teams that would want to bring him in for their quarterback situation.
The reason why I feel like Rosen didn't play each of the last two games is he was signed, I want to say, right before that Cardinals game, the second to last game of the season. And we all know how loyal Kyle Shanahan is to his guys. Beathard was his quarterback that he selected in the third round back in 2017. And when Beathard stepped onto the field, look at what happened each of the last two games. It was a feel-good moment for Beathard. As to whether or not that's actually why Rosen didn't step on the field, who knows? But he being Beathard, beat the Cardinals, and then he had the lead against the Seahawks for the majority of that game. So I'm assuming Shanahan just kept the hot hand on the field, the quarterback that's been really facilitating the offense well, and there wasn't really a need to bring in Rosen other than the fact that he's the new toy that came in, and we could see what he can do on the field for potential future use.
Yeah, Shanahan would probably say, well, he didn't know the offense. He'd only been here for a little bit. Forget that, man. The games didn't count. You were out of contention. You didn't have to win. You're trying to play people who have a future or see if they have a future. You're trying to learn about your roster. That's what you're trying to do. And instead, look, you played your friend, CJ Beathard, your buddy. You really like CJ, and you maybe you felt you owed it to him, or he'd been through a lot, or he's got a tough story, or yada yada yada. You played your friend who's an impending unrestricted free agent. Doesn't make any sense. And sure, maybe he was more prepared than Josh Rosen, played better in practice. I don't care. He's not going to be on this team next year. Josh Rosen will be. Change the offense, dumb it down. Do what you did for Jimmy Garoppolo to get him on the field in 2017. Let him hand off. Call like 7 passes. Give him a shot. Now, I don't know. I think basically you're right. He didn't do it because he wants to do a solid for his friend. I also feel like he's a little afraid, he feels burned by what happened with Jimmy. They put Jimmy on the field for 5 games. Jimmy took off, and now he was stuck with Jimmy for the rest of his life. He's not going to let that happen again with Josh Rosen. No, but the other conspiracy could be, how about this? Wasn't ready. If you put him in those last 2 games, you set him up for failure. He has a bad game. No one wants him. Maybe you leave him on the bench, let him learn the offense, let him learn the players, give him an entire offseason, and then when he finally has a good preseason game or steps in because Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt and actually plays well, now you got someone. Now you have a confident quarterback who's changed the narrative about him, and you've set him up for success. Could that be the conspiracy theory here, that Kyle's actually doing the right thing and actually values Josh Rosen, or is this guy disposable to him?
Well, the one thing I think of is when quarterbacks come in without really knowing the system. Obviously, Jimmy Garoppolo had a couple weeks when he was acquired midseason and had a great end to the season. But the 2 guys that are glaring in my mind are, do you remember when Carson Palmer went to the Raiders and they threw him in that Chiefs game? And I think his first pass was a pick 6, and I think he had 2 picks in that game. Same with Josh Freeman when he went to Minnesota on that horrible Monday Night Football game, which is the worst game I've ever seen on TV. And I think he threw a pick and had like a 40 QB rating. And I think that's an issue, is like loss of confidence. And he's already had a lot of issues of loss of confidence, I would assume, with all the teams giving up on him, that maybe you didn't want to rush him back and then totally lose the guy. Next year, he'll be in a much more favorable situation with a mini camp and preseason.
Yeah, that's cool with me. If we could have Kyle here and I'd ask him, why didn't you play Rosen? He said, well, look, I really like him. I'm trying to set him up for success. Let me get an off season with him. That would make sense to me. But if his answer was because he sucks, I would say, no, CJ sucks. No. CJ sucks, and playing CJ when he was out the door sucked. So I just want to know where Kyle's coming from. He signed him, so maybe he does value the guy in some way. I just don't know. We'll find out soon enough. Easy Tino says, guys, I'm a retired U.S. Air Force, and I know leadership. Coach Kyle is not a leader. He inspires nobody. Reminds me of second and first lieutenants trying to be commanders. I wasn't in the Air Force. I don't exactly know what second and first lieutenants are like. But I would have to agree with Easy that he just doesn't strike me as a classic leader. I think people follow him because they respect his intellect. They acknowledge that he's the best at what he does in terms of play design. But yeah, he's looking at his play sheet. And I think that's part of the reason why he brought in Saleh and replaced Saleh with Ryans, because those two are natural alpha leaders. Mm-hmm. And I think that they're a good complement for Kyle. I think Kyle may even probably know that's his weakness, if it is one, which I think it is. So, but that's okay. I mean, look, it's not really okay, but he does have these defensive coordinators who help and seem to fill in the gap, I believe. So Can you lead from a coordinator position? I don't know. If your defense is better than the offense, maybe you can. Next one. Okay, this is a good one. Frank Gore went on the radio and said he would love to wear that Niners jersey one more time. Should the Niners re-sign him?
I'll start. Yes. And of course, if he's signed, he's the third best running back in the room behind, at this stage in his career, behind Raheem Mostert, behind Jeff Wilson Jr. If you look at his production last year, yes, he played on one of the worst teams in the NFL, the second worst team in the NFL, and had 650 plus rushing yards. He's still a very productive running back, but this signing wouldn't be so much for him to step onto the field and produce. And it's not just he's Frank Gore. He's meant so much to the franchise. Let's bring him in. There's more value here. And what my mind goes back to is the week 6 game, whatever it was, week 5 against the Dolphins, when the 49ers are getting blown out and there's players on the field banging on their chest after making a play when they're down 25, 30 points. The lack of leadership in the locker room and accountability is befuddling. And Frank Gore, his leadership and his wisdom alone would do wonders for this young team. And Grant, you were just talking about how Kyle Shanahan may not be the best leader or lacks leadership qualities. You need all of the leadership in the locker room as possible whenever that's the case with the head coach. And that's why once Joe Staley left, you see Trent Williams, Mike McGlinchey talking about how I think I played a fine game after just watching them get beat time and time again. So Frank Gore brings a lot to this team right off the bat, and it's not just on field. And you can't forget, he can still produce on the field. Someone replied to one of my tweets earlier today when I was advocating for Frank Gore coming back, saying he's not a scheme fit. He's a grinder. I think there's room for a grinder on any roster in the NFL. It doesn't matter what your scheme is. If you're going to pick up tough yardage, there's always going to be value there. And then the history with Frank Gore, the leadership he brings, it's 100% worth it. And if you look at Tevin Coleman and Jerick McKinnon, Tevin Coleman had one of the worst seasons for a running back I've ever seen. So having a guy like Frank Gore come in, yes, 100% the 49ers should bring him back. And he's willing. He wants to come back.
The big thing with Gore, I think, is his leadership, and why not? He made $1.05 million this year. That's less than what Tevin Coleman made. I believe Jerick McKinnon made a lot more than that too, even with the restructured deal. And why not bring Frank Gore in to be that third, fourth stringer? He would be able to lead those undrafted free agent rookies that are currently on the roster, or undrafted guys that are currently on the roster, and the rookies that Grant thinks they should get this offseason, and that's big. What I think of Frank Gore is last year with Buffalo, Devin Singletary's rookie year, he wanted to talk to Adrian Peterson after the game, and I remember seeing this video of he's waiting to talk to Peterson, and Gore walks up, taps Peterson on the shoulder, introduces Singletary, and then Singletary gets to talk to the running back he really wanted to meet. And I thought that was a cool moment, and that's something that you don't always see, but Frank Gore, I just think's a great guy to have. And we've seen issues with McKinnon on Instagram and stuff being unhappy with. I'm not sure what he was unhappy with, but if he is unhappy with playing time, you're not going to see that with Frank Gore. Obviously, he's a great competitor and he'll want to be on the field for every play, but I don't think he's going to be mad when Jeff Wilson Jr. is getting 20 more touches than he is in a game, or Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson Jr. both have 10 more touches than he does. I think he's totally going to be in line with that. And my last thing with Frank Gore is when the Jets had their first win of the season on the line, who did they go to? They were 3rd and 6, and they needed a first down to ice the game. They throw to Frank Gore, and that's a big thing to me. Is he's still a good pass catcher when they throw to him? He's still a great pass blocker, and I think that's a reason why you would want Frank Gore to be that third guy.
Man, you guys made really good arguments for this. I like the sentimental aspect. I love the point you guys made about the leadership. That's a really good point, and it's valid because there is no leadership on the Niners offense. Sean says there's not one leadership style that applies to everyone. People bring different gifts. Kyle and John have brought a culture. Well, we'll get back to that later. But I'm talking Frank Gore and his leadership. I've seen his style of leadership. When he was on the team, it was his team. It was his team more than Willis's, more than Justin Smith's. What he said went pretty much. I respected that. That being said, if he were to sign with this team for like a vet minimum deal, that'd be cool. But I still don't think he'd ever play because he's not as good as Raheem Mostert. He's not as good as Jeff Wilson Jr. So at best, he'd be the number 3 running back on the team. And like Mostert is used on the outside runs, Gore can't get outside. So he would be the guy up the middle. But he's not as good as Jeff Wilson Jr. So you would have him as Jeff Wilson Jr. insurance. If he wants to be that, great. But it's really hard to really be a leader as a third stringer, even if you used to be great. It's just the way it is. Usually the leaders on the team are the best players on the team. It's just the way it is. If you want to be a coach on the field, be a coach. I think probably not, because I think the Niners have really good running backs, underrated running backs. And I like, if they're going to sign anyone, someone who's 22, no offense. No offense.
Yeah, if everybody's on board and he has an understanding of his role, because I agree that at this stage in his career, he would be the 3rd best running back on the team. There's just not really a downside there, especially if he's willing to come in on a vet minimum.
No, there's no downside. It just might just be a waste of his time. He might be able to get a better spot, a better role somewhere else. Well, if he wants to come here, I don't know.
He arguably accepted a 3rd string role this season to go to the Jets, depending on what you think Adam Gase thought of Le'Veon Bell, and then they drafted a couple guys. And I think Gore's just trying to extend his career, and if he can give back anyway.
The thing about Gore is once the other guys get hurt, boom, there he is.
Yeah. Well, and we saw this season, the 2 guys that the Niners are going to be banking on next year to have bounce back healthy seasons are Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson Jr., both who have battled injuries. Do you think, Frank Gore's not fast. He wasn't the fastest when he was first in the NFL. He was fast, but he wasn't the fastest, and he's definitely not fast now. But how much slower do you think he is than Jerick McKinnon?
Oh, no, he's way better than Jerick McKinnon. He's definitely.
Yeah, so if he's just taking that role, that not necessarily the 3rd down back role, but the pass blocking role, so 3rd and 15 when you need a guy to just pick up a blitz pickup.
As David Wilson pointed out here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So there you go. Perfect.
There you go. All right. That's cool. All right. I'm into it. That's pretty good. All right. Let's stick with the running back situation, though. Other running backs have expressed interest in joining the Niners because A, they do have a good scheme, and B, they do like to pay for running backs. Just ask Jerick McKinnon and Tevin Coleman. Word is out. Niners are spending for running backs. So Todd Gurley apparently said, yeah, he's always seen himself in the Niners type of offense and would love to play for Kyle Shanahan. He's probably pretty cheap considering he hasn't been good since 2017. So should the Niners sign Todd Gurley?
It's a good landing spot for Todd Gurley. Would I spend the money that he could probably get on the open market? I don't know. But if he's willing to take a team-friendly deal, I think you have to kick the tires on it or strongly consider bringing him in, because if you look, Atlanta signed him to be the workhorse. When's the last time? Well, Devontae Freeman had a couple good years, but Atlanta has always struggled in the ground game, and he was their primary back. He'd be a complimentary running back with Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson Jr. And I feel like it's crazy thinking about Todd Gurley because he's still like 25 or 26 years old. It seems like he's been in the league forever, and he's really, really young. But with all the injuries he's experienced, his body hasn't held up, or he's kind of taken a step back. But in that reduced role, I do think he would be really productive in Kyle Shanahan's offense. So I have a lot of interest in bringing in Gurley, and it would be interesting to see him play the Rams. So it's worth kicking the tires on depending on the money.
Whoop.
I don't trust Gurley's injury issues. I think that's a big thing, the knee problems. But he had a relatively healthy-ish season this year, and that's better. But I think he made $3.5 million. I would expect that to go down. I think Carlos Hyde was 1 year $2.7 million with Seattle, and that's what I think he would sign for. If the 49ers can get him for $2.7 million, I would be interested, but I don't think I would sign him to be the starter to take away touches from Raheem Mostert, because I think Raheem Mostert's more a sure thing, at least at this point of his career. I think Gurley, if he can become the 2017-18 Gurley, that would provide more upside. But I'd rather roll with Mostert and Jeff Wilson Jr. and JaMychal Hasty and possibly Frank Gore, Boston Walter, whatever, rather than go for Todd Gurley. I think they need to sign other positions before a running back.
Yeah, absolutely freaking not. As Data Niner puts here, no. Undrafted free agent only, save the cap. Yeah. Todd Gurley, let's see. Got a jacked up knee. He's like 26. No. These are the exact kind of players the Niners need to stop signing. They're addicted to these kind of players. They need to put the Todd Gurleys of the world down and go to rehab. Gurley rehab. It's not right. If they move off of Jerick McKinnon and Tevin Coleman just to give Todd Gurley a bunch of money, I'm gonna lose it. I'm just gonna have a fit. So absolutely not. Data Niner. He agreed with us though. Okay, so now that we disagreed on that, let me throw you another one. Who about Aaron Jones? The reason I ask, he's actually really good. He was with the Packers, gonna be an unrestricted free agent, and some Twitter guy with no integrity or whatever said Niners are interested. So we got to talk about it. What do you think?
I'd say my reason against Aaron Jones is I think he would probably be one of the top running backs on the free agent market and get a lot of money. Le'Veon Bell is the last big contract, 4 years, $52.5 million. And I don't know if running backs still get that much money, because I think people have seen that some running backs you just don't want to pay. But if Aaron Jones is getting over $40 million, I just don't think the Niners have the budget for that.
Yeah, this is his first time hitting the open market. So like Maverick touched on, he's going to demand probably the most money out of all free agent running backs. And for that reason, I just don't see a Aaron Jones signing happening. It would be really exciting, don't get me wrong, but for the financials, it's not going to work.
Yeah, he's really good. And what's cool about it is if you see the Niners as a contender next year, if you believe that the only problem was injuries and they're going to bounce back and they had to go through Green Bay, well, now you're weakening a rival. That's terrific. Because really, I think Aaron Jones has been the second most or the third most maybe the second most He's right there with Devontae Adams. He gives them a two-pronged attack. He gives them a running game. It's what Aaron Rodgers hasn't had forever. I could see it, but no, you do not sign running backs. You never do it, even if they're really good. Why? Because they're running backs. They get hurt, and they're a dime a dozen. Jeff Wilson Jr. exists. Raheem Mostert exists. They're really good. Keep signing undrafted free agents. It's worked since the Clinton administration. It worked since Kyle Shanahan was in high school. Stick to the script. It's what made the Shanahans the Shanahans. If they give up another Jerick McKinnon contract, I swear, Nick, I'm coming to your house. Your house. I'm taking it out on you.
Do you know what round Aaron Jones was drafted in?
No, I'm not trying to sign a running back.
5th round.
You got the wrong guy.
You can get a guy that's Aaron Jones level in the 5th round if you're scouting, right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Huh. T-Money Sacktown has a little quick one, says, why wouldn't Alex Smith work? He brings leadership for the offense. Wouldn't he be a cheaper, a little more mobile? Wouldn't he be a good bridge quarterback? I mean, look, if we're discussing bringing Frank Gore back to the Bay, it's a fair point. I mean, if he were to get cut by Washington and he did want to keep playing football, maybe he'd sign a really cheap deal to come back to the Niners. Is it something you guys would consider?
Not to start. I don't think he's that big of an upgrade over Jimmy Garoppolo. If he's interested in a backup role, perhaps. But yeah, I'm not bringing in Alex Smith to start. But I do agree he would bring in a nice veteran presence, some strong leadership qualities. But he's not better than Jimmy Garoppolo right now. I truly feel that way.
I hands down would not want to bring Alex Smith back unless he was that veteran third stringer, which he was at the beginning of the season for Washington this year. So that's a very big minimum contract decrease from what he's at. So injury history, obviously, and even take out the big horrific injury is he wasn't able to start in the postseason this year. So he battled injuries again this season. And he's not that mobile anymore. He lost his speed that he had when he was with San Francisco and Kansas City. And I just think if they're signing him, they better also be getting Deshaun Watson or keep Jimmy Garoppolo, because if Alex Smith is the only non-rookie on the team, that's a bad sign.
I'm intrigued. I'm more intrigued about this than the Frank Gore one. Frank Gore averaged 3.5 yards per carry last year. He's cool. I mean, he's an old running back. I think Alex Smith is actually a pretty good quarterback when healthy. That's the thing. The Niners shouldn't be signing any more when healthy guys. They should be signing short things, or as close so that you can get to a short thing in the NFL. But as you guys pointed out, if this guy, Alex Smith, wants to accept a vet minimum contract to come to camp and be the third string guy and work up from there, I like that. I like that because he is the link to Frank Gore and Joe Staley, and he would have leadership that the players would have to respect. Plus, he wins still. When he's on the field, he wins. You could say that he's not what he used to be, and that's true, but he still wins. So, yeah, for the vet men, absolutely. I think he makes more of an impact right now when he's healthy than Frank Gore. But I don't know if he's made a lot of money in his career and been through a lot. Does he really want to come to the Niners and work his way up from third string at his age? I don't know. Maybe just retire at that point.
Yeah.
Good question, Team Money Sacktown. All right, I think it's time for some trivia.
Let's go.
Let me set up my screen so I can still see you guys while I do it. Need to be able to see if you're cheating. I've heard allegations against one of the participants.
I just look off in space and Jose says I'm looking at a cheat sheet. It's not fair, Jose. How baseless claims. It's not fair. Oh, I don't have anything to write. Can you write the stuff down today?
Yeah, but you got to tell me who you're giving points to, because I never understand your scoring system. So you got to.
You give you give the points.
No, I know. I just sometimes we split points, and I don't know how we're doing it.
That's true.
But
make it up on the fly.
Okay, so we'll do. You get a phone a friend or someone ask. You can ask the audience each round or just once in the game.
Once in the game.
Okay, once in the game, and not on final. That's the thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
All right.
But okay, so the three categories are numbers 2, 5, and 25. That's the first one for February 5th. I almost did.
Hold on. Let me get a piece of paper. I do better with the piece of paper and pen. Hold on.
Yeah, no problem. Nick, you think you're going to win?
Yeah, I think we're tied 1-1. This is for the 3-game series.
I think you can do it. The problem is there's some 90s and 80s stuff here.
Yeah, that's where Grant gets me every time.
What?
The 90s and 80s.
So number 2, 5, and 25 is the first category.
Okay. All right.
Then fun with trades. StatHead, Pro Football Reference is good trade finder, and I was playing around with that for a while. Okay. And then Super Bowls, because that happens to be this week, if you didn't know. And then there is the Final Jeopardy. And then there's just a dumb bonus question that I'll give at the end that doesn't have any bearing on the result.
Okay.
So first is numbers 2, 5, and 25. So the 49ers have picked 12 guys in the 5th round since 2010. Who is the only one of those picks to also wear the jersey number 5?
Ooh. Wait, repeat that question one more time.
49ers have picked 12 guys in the 5th round since 2010. Who is the only one of those picks that also wore the jersey number 5?
Man.
What? Hold on. This is a trick question and a half. Let me
Gabriel got it in the comments.
Oh, okay. Gabriel got it.
Ooh.
And
go ahead, say it. Be wrong.
No. That's wrong.
Since 2010.
Oh, I got it. I think I got it. No, do I? Bradley Pinion.
That is correct. Bradley Pinion. 5th round pick, Bradley Pinion, and he's playing this weekend. So
nice.
All right.
Okay, that's one for Niner Nick.
So David
Hey, wasn't real quick on Bradley Payne? Let's give Bradley some love. Wasn't he also nominated as Walter Payton Man of the Year?
Yeah, he was a nominee. I think he was nominated the year after Anquan Boldin won, or 2 years after Anquan.
Oh, I thought this year too.
Oh, he was again this year. So yeah.
Wow.
So David Akers, who wore number 2, threw 1 touchdown pass in his illustrious career. Who caught it and who was it against?
This is when he was with the Niners?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I got it. I know who caught it.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Lee.
That's incorrect.
Dang.
Andy Lee. I think I know the team.
Who was the long snapper?
Was it against the
Rams? Who was the holder?
It wasn't to the holder.
Oh, man.
Was it against the Rams?
It was against the Rams.
All right. I'm coming out guns blazing today.
Comments.
Man.
Also.
Can we get a hint? Like, what year was it?
It was 2012, week 17.
2012, week 17.
Oh, you're getting hints.
I want to throw out like a random tight end, like Billy Bajima, whatever that guy's name was back in the day. I know it's not right.
A heck of a guess.
But no, I know it's not. Okay, let me.
I'm throwing out feelers.
No, that wasn't a feeler. It was like a joke because the guy hasn't really done anything throughout his career. So I'm gonna say Delaney Walker.
Good guess, but it was Michael Crabtree. Remember, he was like hiding on the sideline.
That's right.
Play, and then Akers threw it, and he was wide open.
No, don't remember it at all. I'm gonna give you a half a point for that.
I'm up 1.5 to 0.
1.5 to 0.
Grant, this is where you make your comeback, I think. Jeff Garcia threw his first 2 career touchdowns in week 4 of 1999. Who caught them? One person, 2 different people.
Oh, man. His first 2 touchdown passes of 1999.
I can give you the positions of the players.
No, I don't do that.
Okay.
I don't do that. Okay. I'm going to guess first. 1999. Jerry Rice.
Incorrect.
I'll give you one more guess.
Terrell Owens.
Terrell Owens is 1.
Yes.
All right, I'll get 2 guesses here. Let's
I just got a half a point. Yes.
JJ Stokes.
JJ Stokes is a good guess, but it's incorrect. I don't think you guys are going to get this, but it was a running back.
Garrison Hurst.
Nope.
Terry Jackson,
throwback. Charlie Garner.
Wow.
Oh. All right, I got a half a point. I'm back in the game. Because it was like it was Garrison Hurst and then Charlie Garner and then Garrison Hurst again, right?
I believe so. I was 3, so I only know the stats, but
I'm doing great today.
Hey, comeback season.
Comeback city.
Okay.
Let's pull Josh Rosen against Texas A&M. All right, let's do it.
Eric Davis, Terrell Brown, Jimmy Ward, and Richard Sherman are the last 4 number 25s to play, I think, 2+ seasons with San Francisco. Rank them in order of career interceptions, including playoffs with the 49ers. So
say it again.
So Sherman not with the Seattle. So as 49ers, rank Eric Davis, Terrell Brown, Jimmy Ward, and Richard Sherman in 49er career interceptions, including
Sherman, Eric Davis, Terrell Brown.
I'm ready.
Oh, my bad. Oh, you want to do it? Go ahead.
Yep. Eric Davis, Terrell Brown, Richard Sherman, Jimmy Ward.
That is correct.
Wow. Good job.
Eric Davis with 18, Terrell Brown with 13, Richard Sherman with 6, and then Jimmy Ward with 2.
2.5 to 1 to half. 2.5 to half.
2.5 to half.
A barn burner. I will give you the 9 fifth-round picks that have started at least one game for the 49ers since 2010. They've had 9 fifth-round picks start at least one game since 2010. Rank them in order of career starts. So I'll give you the 9. Daniel Kilgore in 2011. Quentin Dial Aaron Lynch, Bradley Pinion, and punters were counting as starts. So just think of how many games Bradley Pinion played. John Toos, was that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's who you met at that concert, right?
Yeah, that was him.
Yeah. George Kittle, DJ
Who?
Reed, Dre Greenlaw, and Colton McKivitz. Let me know if you need him again.
So hold on. We're trying to put him in order of who started the most games.
Yeah. So a good place to start is Pinion, probably, but that's a hint for you.
Oh, come on, Mav.
That's just the first person. I'm just saying because
All right, that was a free.
obviously the punter played every single start.
Hey, Grant, should we alternate?
Yeah, I don't know how to do this. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll alternate. So starting with number 2, Nick, we'll start with you.
Oh, okay. Pinion. Let me look at my list here. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say George Kittle.
Okay, that is correct. So then Grant, who's third?
Okay. Third is going to be Daniel Kilgore.
That is correct.
Ooh, nice. Oh man.
This is where it gets dicey.
Yep, you could say that again. I'm gonna say Aaron Lynch.
Aaron Lynch is incorrect.
Ah,
I was going to say Aaron Lynch too, for the record. So good job.
The problem with Aaron Lynch is, remember, he didn't get starts, but he was like the lead edge rusher, but he wouldn't.
All right. Well,
start.
in that sense, I'm going with Quentin Dial.
Quentin Dial is the fourth person. Yes, that's correct.
So we'll go through to the end, and whoever had fewer wrong wins it.
Okay.
Right now, Grant. That means fifth. Dre Greenlaw.
Dre Greenlaw is correct.
Okay. Man, this is tough. So we got DJ Reed, McKivitz, Theus, and Lynch. Oh, geez. Okay, then it's gotta be Lynch at this point.
Lynch is correct. So now it's down to McKivitz, Reed, and
Theus.
Theus.
Yeah.
I'll go DJ Reed next.
DJ Reed is incorrect.
Oh,
he only had 2 starts. McKivitz is correct.
Kivitz.
So I believe it's point Grant.
Okay, because and next would be DJ Reed, and I don't think Theus ever started a game.
He had 1 start.
Oh.
I don't know when it was, but it was probably in one of those last games against the Rams, would be my guess. But
so we're at 2.5 to 1.5.
Correct.
Yes. Okay, and that's the last of that category.
Nice.
Now it's fun with trades.
I like fun with trades. I like fun.
You might get depressed looking at all these trades, but
okay.
It's just a warning. Kyle Shanahan loved this running back so much he traded a 4th and 5th round pick, which subsequently became Marlon Mack and Anthony
Joe
Walker.
Williams.
Joe Williams is correct.
I love him too. I can't knock him.
Where I was going to go with this? Do you know what running back? I'll turn the tables here. Ask you guys.
That's a later question, probably. Nick, don't say it.
Oh, okay.
You already have you already know. Okay, you're going to get the point, Nick.
Whose first round pick did the 49ers acquire to eventually use on Joe Staley? What team did they acquire the first round pick that they used on Joe Staley?
Man, I don't remember. I was in college.
He was picked 28th overall. So think of teams that would have been at that part of the draft.
The Patriots.
Patriots is correct. They traded their 2008 first and their 2007 fourth to get him 28th.
How about that? I actually
3.5 to 2.5. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you. Remember StatHead Trade Finder. It's fun to play around with.
No, it was a good question, but I was also complimenting you. That was a really good answer.
Yeah.
That was a good question and a hell of an answer. A tough question, which makes it a good question.
Yeah. Alex Smith was traded for 2013 and 2014 second round picks. And those picks ultimately became 2 running backs, a defensive end, and a linebacker that suited up for the 49ers. Who are those players?
Chris Borland.
That's the linebacker.
Tank Carradine.
That's the defensive end. Do you want to give Nick 2 guesses, or do you want to just roll through the last 2?
I guess you can. Go ahead.
Wait, okay. I missed the question. Say that one more time.
Alex Smith was traded for 2013 and 2014 second-round picks. And those picks ultimately became 2 running backs, a defensive end, and a linebacker. And Grant got the defensive end and the linebacker. Who were the 2 running backs that stood up for the Niners?
Carlos Hyde.
That's 1.
Mike Davis.
Mike Davis is correct. Splits the question.
Okay, so now I have 3 and you have 4.
The 49,
with the halves.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, this is going to really hurt when you hear it. The 49ers traded back with the Jacksonville Jaguars so the Jaguars could draft Allen Robinson 61st overall in 2014. What USC center and USF edge rusher did they draft with the picks they acquired?
Marcus Martin.
Mm-hmm.
USC edge rusher?
USF edge rusher.
USF
Aaron
edge
Lynch.
rusher?
Aaron Lynch is correct.
All
The
right.
Niners could have had Allen Robinson. Just remember that. And they liked Marcus Martin and Aaron Lynch. So
Yep.
Okay, 3.5 to 4.5.
They also could have had Travis Kelce and drafted Vance McDonald.
yeah.
Hey, Vance McDonald's still developing. He retired.
He retired.
I'll never forget that Carolina game. I'll never forget that long pass.
Remember when he just dropped everything for like 2? Yeah.
Where the sun or something got in his eye. I don't know. 2 of the picks acquired in the Mitchell Trubisky trade were named All-Pros this season. Who were they? So not necessarily with the 49ers, but 2 of the picks acquired in the Mitchell Trubisky trade.
Fred Warner. Not necessarily with the 49ers. Fred Warner's 1 though, right?
Fred Warner is 1. Grant, you get a guess to to even it out.
Patrick Mahomes.
What?
Correct. But Nick, do you have a guess?
Wait, did you say correct?
Incorrect.
Oh, I was about to say, whoa. Man. But okay, the hint is he's not with the 49ers, right?
The hint is he's not with the 49ers.
But that pick was once affiliated with the 49ers one way or another.
Affiliated with the 49ers.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's where you were going with your hint earlier, or your thing earlier. Alvin Kamara.
It wasn't.
Oh, you weren't going with Kamara earlier? Oh, yeah. So they instead of or with the picks they acquired for Trubisky, they got Fred Warner, and they could have kept Alvin Kamara, but they traded that pick later in the draft. I can tell you what they got for Alvin Kamara if I look for a second, but yeah, that's
while you're looking. This is what I was going to add. There's a trade that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch made that everybody always forgets about, and I want to say it was a 2017 draft. They traded for a running back that it wasn't a draft pick. It was for the running back. It was for a running back. Does anybody remember who the running back was?
The 2017 draft?
Yeah.
Capri Bibbs.
It was Capri Bibbs.
Yeah.
They gave up like a 4th round pick for him, I want to say, and he never even touched it.
Did.
That was a really bad trade that no one ever talks about. Like that 2017 draft class is just wiped cleaned off the slate of John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan because it was their first year.
No, well, so the trade gets even better. You want to know what it was?
What?
They traded the 4th round pick for Capri Bibbs, and they also got a 5th. And you know who that 5th round pick was?
Who?
It eventually became Trent Taylor.
Oh, you're going to say George Kittle. Dang. So hold on. Nick has wait.
I'm at like 4.5.
5.5 or something.
5.5. Yeah.
So
I have like a 1.5 lead.
No, you have 5. I have 3.5.
All right.
What they got for Alvin Kamara is they got the 7th round pick in 2017, which ended up being this isn't a question. This is just a fact. They got Adrian Colbert, and then they also got a 2018 2nd round pick, which ended up being Darius Geis, but they traded the Darius Geis pick and the Jerron Christian pick and got Dante Pettis and DJ Reed.
All right.
Yeah.
How about that? All right. What you got? Any more trades that we're gonna have fun with?
This is the last. That was the last one.
Okay, cool.
Now it's Super Bowls. So just questions on the many Super Bowls the 49ers have been to. There are 5 questions, 5 wins, obviously, for the 49ers. Who did Jacoby Jones burn twice on his 56-yard touchdown? That is correct.
Dude,
this is where Grant's gonna do his work and get right back in the
Let's
ball game.
go. All right. So I got 4 now.
That was a rough week for Chris Culver.
Yeah.
Rough week.
Bad PR week, definitely. And then, who were the 4 players with interceptions in last year's Super Bowl 54?
Fred Warner.
Javarius Moore, Fred Warner.
Hold on.
Okay.
Fred Warner, you said Javarius Moore. I'll go, and then you go.
Yeah.
Kendall Fuller.
Correct. I was worried you'd say the other Fuller.
Brashad Breeland.
Bashad Breeland's correct.
All right. So why don't we both take a point?
So what is it? We're at 6 to 5.5.
5.5. Yeah.
A close game. Yeah. William Floyd caught one of the 49ers' 7 touchdowns versus the Chargers. Who combined for the other 6?
Well, Jerry Rice would be one.
Rice. Yep.
Yeah, so 2 players combined for the other 6. So can you get the other one?
Ricky Waters.
Correct.
It wasn't my turn, though. But I'm taking it.
I don't know if Nick would have got Ricky Waters.
No, yeah. That was
sorry, Nick.
It was in the
it was in the hopper. Okay, so it's 6. I have 6.5 now.
Should we punish you, Grant? And you only get a half for that, or what?
Are we done?
Yeah, that's fair. Let's do 6 to 6. 6 to 6. I blurted. It's a no
Come
blurting.
on. I knew this is where Grant was going to catch up.
Okay, Jerry Rice had 11 catches for 215 yards and a touchdown in Super Bowl 23. Who was second on the team with 8 catches for 101 yards?
John Taylor.
Do you have a guess, Grant?
Sure. My guess would be Roger Craig.
Roger Craig is correct with 8 catches for 101 yards and 71 rushing yards as well.
Damn. Good call, Grant.
Thank you. 7 to 6. I just pulled ahead.
Oh,
that was a flat out guess. A flat out guess. I don't even know what game that was.
No, yeah, it was a hell of a guess.
Thanks.
Hey, credit.
I was going to say John Taylor too. You said it first, so thank you.
Well, yeah, I figured people would say John Taylor, and then whoever didn't guess John Taylor
would say Roger Craig.
Would get Roger Craig or Brent Jones or whatever. Yeah. The 49ers have been to 7 Super Bowls. Name the 7 opposing starting quarterbacks. If you want me to give you the teams, I can give you the teams if that'll help when we get to the later ones.
Joe Flacco, 1. Your
That's
turn.
1.
Patrick Mahomes.
That is also 1.
John Elway.
John Elway. Correct.
Boomer Esiason.
Correct.
Marino.
Wow,
Marino's correct. If you want me to give you the teams of the last 2, I can. I don't think you're going to get them.
Let's hold off on that right now. Let's. We got the thing.
I know it is. I know them both.
Mark Pinelli got 1.
I know them both.
Oh, Anthony also got him.
But I'm going to let Nick try. I was alive for one of them. I should know one of them.
I don't think Nick. Not Dan Fouts. That's who I would have guessed when I wouldn't know. Yeah.
You guys are hella young. Dan Fouts didn't play in the 90s. Okay, Stan Humphries.
Yes.
Wow, I would have never in a million years got that.
And Ken Anderson.
Correct.
Right.
See,
Wow,
I honestly just associated Dan Fouts with pre-Drew Brees Chargers.
Yeah.
And didn't know there was another quarterback before that. So, yeah.
Okay, so that's a point for me. I'm up 2 now.
My age real shows whenever we start talking about the Super Bowls but you Grant, you were barely alive yourself. So
that's true. The first season I remember was 94. 94. I remember that season. It was fun. That's why I was a fan. I'm really happy that I'm winning now.
Oh, so and that leads us into final. What's the score?
Oh, I'm up by 2, 8 to 6.
This is the hardest question. So just
okay.
I was laughing the whole time I made this. Kyle Shanahan has had 18 offensive line starters in his 49er head coaching career.
Okay.
We're going to go one by one, and y'all are going to name the 18 offensive line starters.
Okay, I like this. I like it.
I was going to make you guys do them in order of starts as –
No.
But no,
I'm
not doing that. But, yeah. If it ends up being a tie, I have the bonus question, and we'll use that bonus question. But
okay,
I don't think it will be a tie.
Nick, since I'm winning, do you want to have first crack?
Yeah, I'll go first crack. Joe Staley.
Joe Staley is one of them, yes.
Mike McGlinchey.
That's another one.
Trent Williams.
Trent Williams is also one. Hold on. Wait, hold on. I need to mark him off when.
Okay.
Trent Williams, you said, and then who'd you say after Trent Williams?
Laken Tomlinson.
Laken Tomlinson is correct.
Mike Person.
Mike Person is also correct.
Weston Richburg.
Another correct answer.
Zane Beatles.
Yes.
Ben
Didn't
Garland.
see that one coming so soon.
Ben Garland is correct. Yeah, I did not expect Zane Beatles to be named, but if he was named, I thought he would be the winner at the end.
Yeah. I should have saved that one in my back pocket. Horonis Grasu.
Also correct.
Daniel Brunskill.
Daniel Brunskill is correct. I thought he would be one of the first guys named. I didn't think he'd make it this long.
Justin School.
Justin School's correct.
Okay. Daniel Kilgore.
Anthony got it. Oh, yeah, and that's the one you said. Correct.
Kilgore. Yep.
Yeah.
Colton McKivitz.
McKivitz is correct.
I got one, but I want to save my ace up my sleeve for later. I'm just trying to think if I can think of another one because it's scary to use my ace right now. Scary.
I should have saved my.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5 more.
5 more. So hold on.
Ooh, Darian got one.
I got one. I just don't want to use it yet. But I might have to.
Darian got the hardest one, honestly.
I don't know who Darian is. I'm not looking at the chat. I'm just looking out here. Jose would be saying I'm cheating. Hold on. Give me 15 more seconds to think, and then I'll say my name that I know.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Okay, I got one. Joshua Garnett.
Incorrect.
He
did not start under Shanahan.
I was going to say that. That's what I was going to
Didn't
go
he get hurt?
next.
Didn't he play and get hurt? He didn't start that game?
I
guess Minnesota.
Pro Football Reference, I'll look to make sure because maybe Pro Football Reference lied to me.
He was the right guard. Oh, did someone else get hurt first?
No, he was not the right guard in that game. It was someone else.
He played in that game.
Well, remember.
Did he come in off the bench? Because then he got hurt and McGlinchey had to move to right guard.
No, I'm pretty. I'll check right now. Hold on.
I know Josh Garnett played in that game and got hurt.
That was what? 17?
2018.
Oh, 18.
Remember, he dislocated his toe and he was banging the turf. He was really upset. I remember that vividly. He didn't start that game?
We're going to Pro Football Reference. Hold on. You're saying the Minnesota game?
Yeah, I thought he did.
I don't even think he was on the 49ers in 2018. I thought they cut ties
He was
with him.
not the starter in that game. Someone else.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I'm out. I'm wrong.
Person was the right guard starter in that game.
Who was?
He get hurt and then he come off the bench and then replace him? I
Yeah,
swear to God, he was in that game for a couple of plays. Oh, well, I'm wrong.
Let's look at some snap counts. I'll give you an answer.
I'll look at it. Go ahead, Nick. You're up. I shouldn't just name the guy I knew. I'm an idiot. Ugh.
He did. Garnett had 14 offensive snaps in that game.
Thank you. He did play in the game. I think Person got hurt too. Ugh.
I don't think we named this. No, we did name the center from 2017. Guard.
I can't believe I wasted
Trent Brown.
Oh, man.
Brown is correct. Okay, keep going.
Dang it. That was my guy.
That was big
was your
for.
ace up your sleeve. I can't believe he even last that long. It was just a matter.
I don't know
of
why. I
time.
should have said it.
That was big for Nick, because now I believe he just needs to match Grant the rest of the way, right?
Okay.
I already have the lead in this specific question.
Yeah, but you're down 2, so now I believe you're down.
Mm.
So hold on.
Well, let's see how it closes out.
We're getting in your dome, Grant.
Getting in my dome. All right. Oh, hold on. Tom Compton.
Tom Compton is correct. I was surprised
nice,
you didn't roll with him right away.
Man, that puts me in a tough spot. Compton.
There's 2 that started under 5 games, and then there's 1 that was an actual starter.
Oh, I'm gonna phone a friend.
No, you can't on Final Jeopardy.
Oh man,
We established that.
You're right. I just realized I haven't used it all game. There's
Sports
4
Fanatic
left.
got it in the comments. Or he doesn't have the name, but he has the correct year.
I have one. I actually have one. I have one.
Let Nick.
I'm going to get back in with this one. Yes. I'm so happy. In your face, Nick. In your face. In your face.
Trent Brown missed some time in 2017, didn't he? He wasn't a 16-game starter. I'm trying to think is there a backup tackle?
Zane Beadles played tackle when he was hurt.
All right, Grant's cracking me up. So I'm gonna pull one out of nowhere.
There's 3 left.
3 left.
Game ain't over. Game ain't over.
No, it doesn't sound right. Marcus Martin?
Marcus Martin's a good guess, but that's incorrect.
Eric Magnuson.
Eric Magnuson is correct.
Wow.
The Michigan man.
Wow.
Love those.
So now we're back. We're even again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even, yeah. And there's 2 more. So if Nick gets the last 2, then he ties it up.
Eric Magnuson.
Can I give him a hint, Grant?
Yeah.
One played tackle and played under 3 games, and the other one was the starting guard one of the seasons.
Yeah.
For 1 season. And I don't think you're going to get either.
How can I not remember that? That's ridiculous.
I feel like I know the starting guard.
He played all 16 games that season. LJ Padilla got it in the comments.
I want to.
How do I not remember that?
I'm getting Zane Beadles confused with who I think this guy may be.
Yeah, well, they were on the same
Zane
team.
Beadles came from. Someone came from the Jaguars and someone came from the Broncos. I want to say there was someone that came from the Broncos. Wasn't no?
I don't remember him on the Broncos. I remember him on another team. And then the other one is
This is gonna be like one of those that's like, oh my god, how did?
Okay, think of a guy that barely played, but he was one of Shanahan's first signings, and he was a tackle.
Oh, that's gotta give it away. No.
He's the one that played under 3 starts.
One of Shanahan's first.
I don't have to answer any questions. I'm winning by 2. This is on you, Nick.
You know,
You can embarrass him. You can finish him
I don't
off.
know it.
Oh,
Hold
you don't?
on. It's basically the 2017 starting right guard. I don't remember who it was. How do I not remember who started 16 games at right guard in 2017? How do I not know that?
Are you being sarcastic or are you mad at my
I'm serious. I don't remember who it was.
Was he bald? Was he bald?
I don't remember him being bald, but he was definitely he had a buzz cut, I think.
Oh man.
I was in the locker room. I probably interviewed the guy, man. I don't even remember.
You probably did. You want the initials?
No,
Sure.
that's gonna give it away. No. Let me sit on this one for a couple.
Nick needs this. I could steal if I could.
How about I'll tell you where the guy that started the 1 game came from, where he was signed from.
Okay.
Seattle.
No.
Gary
Gilliam. I said it. I was on the right.
We're giving
it.
Nick that
I'll
point.
give it to him.
We're
I'll give
giving
it to him. I'll
Nick
give it
that
to him.
point.
All right.
Harry Gilliam. You're right.
Okay, and then the last one is the starting guard from that Shanahan season.
Oh man.
Not Joshua Garnett.
Not Garnett.
No. Not
He started
Marcus
16
Martin.
games.
It was supposed to be Garnett, though.
Yeah.
He got hurt, and
Man.
someone stepped up.
Do you want the team he came from?
Yes.
Yes.
I believe it was Minnesota. And I think he played one more season, and then he was out of the NFL.
How do I not remember this guy? He came from Minnesota. Yup.
All right. It's not going to come to me.
A lot of
He's
people
up.
in the comments.
I win.
Once
What?
I hear it,
Brandon
Go ahead,
Fusco.
Maverick.
Fusco!
yep.
Oh man, I deleted him from my brain. He started 16 games.
Yeah, he started 16 games. He probably was the second best guy on that line somehow. Like because that line was so bad. But
Fusco.
yeah.
Wow. That was the final Jeopardy winner today, Brandon.
That was a good
Someone
question.
needs to hit him up and let him know that he's still.
He meant he's
still relevant
important there.
Hey, that was a good game, Nick.
Yeah, and then if you want the bonus question, it was before I realized Grant probably hadn't watched the last two Niners Super Bowls because he would have been covering them, so he wouldn't have seen them. I counted 5 49ers in the NFL 100 commercial. Who are they? And
Richard
meaning
Sherman.
players or coaches. Sherman is correct.
Mike Singletary.
Mike Singletary.
Joe Montana.
Joe Montana.
Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice.
Ronnie Lott.
No. Or he might have been. I just didn't see him. I was watching. It was a
Richard Sherman, but not Ronnie Lott. That's what
I'm just saying it was a
society.
non-HD version I saw. So if he was in there, I just did not see him because pixelation, man. The last one is Dion.
Kids these days. Dion.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
But I would guess Ronnie Lott was probably in there, and I just didn't see him. And I would guess Steve Young was probably in there, and I just didn't see him.
Perhaps.
But, yeah. So there you go. Grant's the champion because Brandon Fusco escaped Nick's mind. If someone wants to buy Nick a Brandon Fusco,
how do you think Brandon Fusco feels? I mean, he's clearly watching the show right now, and he's like, "It's me, Brandon Fusco."
He's probably commenting a lot, man.
Is it Fusco? Is the Count of Monte Fusco? Brandon Fusco or Fusco?
I just remember he was the most solid 73 overall guard in Madden history. And I had him for like years before that. And then I was like actually happy they got him because I was like, oh, Madden in real life. And then I realized, no, he's not the answer at right guard. I was hoping when you would say Eric Pierce, but
Eric Pierce. That was the Tom Sully years.
Yeah. Well,
I actually interviewed his wife once about moving all around the country. She was really nice. He was one of those journeymans. Those guys have such a tough life. It's like, we're moving again, honey.
Tom Compton. Yeah.
Tom Compton. Big TC.
Tom Compton.
Underrated player, by the way. Guys, thanks for doing the trivia. Maverick, as always, that was money. Nick, a pleasure to beat you. Looking forward to doing this next week. And looking forward to what you're writing. Nick's going to have he's going to have monster. No, I'm just kidding. He's writing something this week. It's going to be great. Maverick, thank you as always. The people who watch, you guys are the real MVPs. See you soon.